Good day. I hope you're doing really well as you watch this video, morning, evening, or night. And I want to give a question beyond the normal Friday Q&A. So I haven't done a Friday Q&A in a long time of like, just ask me anything, tag me, whatever's going on. I'm trying to find some good light. Hey, good morning, Sherry. There we go. I had some weird light. Megan, good morning. So today on Q&A Friday, ask me anything about whatever topic's going on for you that you could use some support with. And the sun is really weird. Anyway, so hi Mary. I wanted to see, this is a topic that came up in our peaceful eating group, and I think it's a super important one, that we are all getting mirrored back. Good morning, Megan. We're all getting mirrored back these days. How much food, like in our supply chest, our freezers, our cabinets, our refrigerators, do we need to feel like there's enough that doesn't trigger thoughts of like basically collapse and shut down, or fear I'm not going to get enough, so eat all the things, or just kind of like holding back, like I don't have enough, so I'm just going to skimp and all that. And I understand that there are circumstances where they might be the truth, or that you don't have enough variety that you'd like or whatever. But a lot of the times we just haven't been accustomed to now having to have that available in a way that just logistically has been accessible. You know, if you're doing orders for groceries right now, let's say for me, it's a week. So it's a good week to like know from when I order to when I might get it. And so I'm really kind of always having to think ahead way more about the things that my family and I typically like. So I'd love to hear from you all as we're talking. What are you noticing? Do you need to have, I mean, this is not even just about shortage. This is about like your internal feelings and sensations of shortage and what that does to you with your food. So Mary's saying she finds herself wanting to eat more sweet foods. Can you speak out, not to judge yourself for that? I totally will. Thank you for asking. I want to ask the question again though real quick. Those who are watching here live or on the replay, how many weeks out of food are you noticing that you need to have available? I feel pretty good at 2, but 3 is better. So I'm kind of keeping that in mind to have 3 to 4 around, and that means utilizing your freezer and the storage you have and putting things where you got to put them. I mean, my cupboard's a little weird right now, like, you know, in terms of like things kind of overflowing out of it, whether it's crackers or pasta sauce or whatever. And it's not a hoarding. I mean, I get just a little bit each week. But, you know, I don't want to get out that much. And I think that's the safest thing to do. So, anyway, just want to put that out there too. What are you noticing that? That's what I was saying, Mary. Okay, so I'm going to go up to Mary's question, is that how can I want to eat more sweet food. Well, what do we get from that? Let's just go back to like what we get from sweet foods. They're usually good. They taste good. There is pleasure. There is joy. Usually there is maybe some nostalgia with sweets. Maybe there is some just straight up you eat it, and for a few seconds or minutes there is just this sense of whatever was feeling painful isn't so much. And gosh, that's not the worst thing in the world to do, to eat some sweets to kind of just feel a little less pain for a second. And I know the idea that we beat ourselves up about that is just rooted in diet culture, right? That we shouldn't use food to not feel sad. But the truth is that people eat at weddings. They celebrate weddings. We celebrate birthdays. We celebrate anniversaries. Some people even do meals at funerals, so it's like there's all kinds of ways in which we use food that also coincide with strong emotion. So it's not at all surprising that that's happening. I think maybe where the gap is recognizing what is happening. If you don't know what the emotion is, can you recognize the sensation of like upness, heaviness, buzziness, and what shifts in your system as you're eating the food? And to be okay with that, to like, oh, that's all I'm trying to do with myself. Yeah. I'm hearing you, Mary, that like when you have multiple kinds of folks you're together with, it's, it's a challenge. I think we all have different challenges. It's just our life experiences, right? Some people who are on their own, doing their own thing, have different experiences than living with three other people, 5 other people, and their preferences and all the cooking and all the food prep that needs to go in. So, like I said, most of us have never had to experience this kind of living in our lifetime, where it's like your day is wrapped up around kind of some basic needs getting met. We don't have a lot of convenience, and we don't really have a lot of external ways to distract ourselves, like driving and other kinds of busyness. So more is just there that we haven't had to navigate, and I don't think there's anything wrong with you around that. It's more about, what do I need? And maybe food is part of that. Maybe it's some part of it, and other things it's like just more sitting on the floor, finding your feet and your seat and your back. So I do that a lot more regularly. I do it all the time anyway with the work I do, but especially now. There will be 5 minutes in my day multiple times a day where I'm just like, yeah, I could clean out the garbage can because it kind of smells, but and I'll get to that, but I think I just need to do something else right now, which is sit. Yeah, so sure, my husband's asking for more sweet baked goods now. It makes sense. Yeah, and so everybody, a good question would be for ourselves, what is this doing for me specifically? So it doesn't turn into this spiral of like I'm out of control and guilt and all the old diet culture stuff, but really name it. Just name, like, oh my gosh, I feel the warmth and the softness and the gooiness, and it feels kind of internally like a hug or stabilizing or whatever, and let that be okay. So Mary, you're saying you're struggling with diet culture again after a year and a half with intuitive eating. Well, I wish it didn't take like this big old crisis to maybe uproot some stuff for you, but the last little bits maybe you're ready for. Maybe this is the time for that. And as much as I know it's painful, and I'm sorry, but as knowing you from here pretty well, it's like I don't see you going back to any diet culture behavior so much, but you can't help it with the thoughts. It's more about, oh yep, there's that motor again that really used to help me out when I didn't know what to do, where I stand, how I'm okay, what's my safety level, all the things, all the things. Yeah, some people don't. Going outside and lay on the sidewalk, it works. I do it. If it wasn't so gross and hot here already, I would be doing that more. Now I have to kind of be up in the shade a little bit if I can, or just do it on the bathroom floor because it's cool. That's a good place. On the carpet, that works too. But, well, Sherry, you're saying your husband doesn't like to admit weakness or ask for help. If this is a place that he can let his vulnerability land on a plate with bread and butter, that's not the worst thing. But yeah, gosh, we could all kind of take a lesson for that. Like, oh, it's really hard for me to like unclench myself, and maybe eating helps that soften. And if we can notice that, it's like, oh, that's all I was after, that sensation. The bread and butter is good and all, or the cake is good and all, but it's also doing this. And that information is a total gift, that I need more of that. That's what's missing right now. And if I'm interested, which I don't have to be, but if I want to explore other things to give me that same thing the best I can, that's an option too. So I see lots of faces I haven't seen in a long time. I just want to say hi. So I'm going to talk to Samantha. Thanks for asking a question, Samantha. I just stick the same 3 things for every meal because I found that I can find those 3 things at the store. Is that something that feels good to you or okay to you? I mean, again, we're doing different things right now and circumstances we've never been in. But sometimes we do get a little bit of lockdown in our head. And maybe sometimes it's hard to have clarity about what else could be available. With what we can, maybe we see some food, we don't know how to use it, and that's where we get a little stuck. I'm not sure what's happening for you, Samantha. and if that's something you want to stick with. I wouldn't assume you want different unless you say so, and give me permission to talk about that. So, Mary, you're saying joyful movement is falling aside, and you can feel it in your body, more aches, but I also feel losing fitness level and strength. Maybe that's diet culture again, not sure. Well, so the truth is, I mean, we're going to lose a certain percentage of our aerobic capacity, let's say, if you did nothing for like a month. But that doesn't mean that we don't get that back with getting back to movement again when life happens. So maybe it's less about big routines right now. This is just being the very practical, like actual aerobic fitness and strength and flexibility. Let's do the exercise physiology lesson a second here. Is that, yeah, I mean, we're going to like shift in that a little bit, but that doesn't mean we won't get it back, just like you got it in the first place. So there's that. And sometimes all we need to move some adrenaline is, again, laying outside on the ground, on the concrete. Sometimes it's going out for just 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and pulling some weeds. Just little things. I do little things throughout the day, 5 minutes here or there, only because that's kind of all I need to move that adrenaline. And when I can do a walk, I try to get it in. So, and, you know, anything you notice that moves some of your adrenaline, whether it's dancing around the house as you're cooking, whether it's vigorously scrubbing a pot, whatever it is you're doing, notice how that movement might move some of that tension for you. And maybe that's all we're really needing right now. And that will help kind of uncouple some of that diet culture stuff. Like, I can only feel better if I move 30 minutes a day, every single day. Well, it does probably feel good, but there are also other ways that feel okay with our bodies or in our bodies too. So I'm hoping that helps, little Mary. Well, thank you all so much. Does anybody have any other questions? I don't need to hop off the second, but again, this is Q&A Friday, and I asked the question, so I'd love to hear from you all, because I think this would help others have some clarity and some bigger picture thinking. To get our needs met, we kind of have to have a sense of like how much food how much we need available. For some of us, we need to be doing, you know, when I say nourishment, I don't just mean food nourishment, which I do. You know, for me, it's like I might not feel like cake today, but, you know, in a week and a half, I might. So I go ahead and buy the cake mix anyway. Or if, like, when you start to shift to shopping for what you might like versus only what you think you need this second in terms of, like, you know, proteins, grains, you know, vegetables, whatever, start thinking like, okay, what do I like and what do I potentially like? And when things were more normal, what did I tend to eat like here or there, and what was my variety looking like? And we kind of have to plan just a little bit more ahead of getting our needs met. So when you get your shop in, whether you go get it yourself or you order it and it's brought to you, it's that you might think, oh gosh, I mean, I don't really need all this right now, but maybe in day 6 from now, you're like, oh, I'm so glad I ordered XYZ, because totally need to eat that today. That sounds right. Needed that variety. And that helps with the satisfaction and also to keep that sense of scarcity at bay. All right. So I love to hear how everybody else is handling that situation, and if we need to go into more depth about that next week, and let me know. All right. Well, thank you all so much for being here live. I would love to address more things that are maybe bothering you right now. And if you want to put that below and tag me at any point, you can email me at tracybrownrd@gmail.com. If you have any questions about the Peaceful Eating Group, where we meet 6 times a month and get live your personal intuitive eating recovery process generally checked in with, your welcome, Sherry, and have lots of education materials and somatic work along in the mix. That's all available. If you're interested, let me know about that. And then I hope you have a really, really good weekend. I'm considering doing a meal session here tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. If anybody interested, you could put like a little emoji below as well. I might just hop on live anyway. I'm not quite sure, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to, because I wake up early in the weekends. And for those who need a little bit of a weekend connection spot, I'd be happy to offer that. But if nobody's interested, I'll just hold off till Monday. But let me know below with some emojis or however you want to let me know that you might be interested in drinking coffee and eating something with me. So, all right, I'll talk to y'all in the next video. Bye for now.